Dallas is still looking to make its move in a wide-open division. Andy Dalton was back on the practice field, and Mike McCarthy told reporters that the team had a, quote, pep in its step as it returned to work ahead of Sunday's matchup with the Minnesota Vikings on Fox. You know I'm ready for that one, Skip. Former Cowboys cornerback Orlando Scandrick is with us now. Orlando, do you believe a 2-7 team has pep in its step?
Hey, they got a little pep because they're well-rested. When you're well-rested, you got a little pep in your step. It's like after you had that long weekend, when you got that 3-day weekend, that 4-day weekend, you got a little pep in your step at work on Tuesday.
You know what, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. First of all, normally you have a pep in your step when you got something to look positive to. You know, oh, man, I can't wait to get back. Man, we 72, or we 6-3, or we undefeated. Ooh, man, I can't wait to get back to work. Do you see what they've been putting on tape? They 2-7.
They do got something to look forward to, huh? Almost over.
Exactly. So you ain't got no pep. That means the check's about to get stopped. The check's about to get cut off.
To be realistic, some of those guys are playing for their future. So I'm sure they got some pep in their step. Some of those guys is playing for the long-term, livelihoods of their family. So they should have a little pep, but they're not going anywhere. You would like to see some progress, but I have zero hope. When I came on here and we started this thing, I said I had zero hope because of their defense. And now they coming off the bye, playing against a red-hot Vikings team. Yeah, they can have some pep in their step, all right? It's not going to end well.
But I would have, I'd have felt better, Skip. If they'd have won that last game.
Well, they should have.
No,
they played well enough, too. The referees took it right out of their hands.
There you go.
Well, you know it and I know it.
So who you going with?
Oh, my gosh.
You going with Andy Dalton, you going with Bad, or you going with Gigi?
Gigi? Garrett Gilbert?
Yeah.
I'm going with Andy Dalton. 3 Pro Bowls. First 5 years in the league, averaged 10 wins a year.
But you just told me that was a long time ago. You told me Drew Holiday made the All-Star team. You said that was 2013.
Yep.
What years was that when Andy Dalton went to the Pro Bowl?
It was a ways ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got it. But the reason that there was pep in the step is these guys were watching the games on Sunday, and the stinking Eagles lost to the Giants. And the stinking Washington football team lost at the buzzer to Matthew Stafford and Prater up in Detroit.
Yep.
And even though Alex Smith played out of his mind, that was the unsung game of the week by what he did.
Yeah, but the problem is that the Cowboys have been dominated by both of those teams. So what does that tell you?
I'm not sure the Eagles really dominated them, but I'll give you that with the Washington football team.
And now you got my first cousin. You saw what he did last night, right?
Yep. Okay.
The score wasn't indicative of what happened in Philadelphia, but they didn't do much of anything.
Okay, here's the point. If you look hard at what's going on as of yesterday off the Sunday games, if you look at remaining schedules in the National Football League, the Cowboys, off Sunday's results, had the easiest remaining schedule in the whole league. I'm talking about if you just add up the one-loss records of remaining opponents, easiest schedule left was Dallas's. That changed last night with the win by Minnesota because it increased a little bit. So now they fell to number 2 easiest. But again, the Washington team is 9th easiest. And then you have to go all the way down to the Giants at 28 and Philly at 29th. Okay, so my point is, it's set up right now for the 2-7 Dallas Cowboys to make the best run. They have the most winnable games left, not Minnesota. They're going to get trounced. I mean, Dalvin Cook will run them off the field, even though they played the run very well against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They held them way under 100.
Well, the thing is, but Minnesota, the difference is between Pittsburgh and Minnesota. Gary Kubiak, who's my offensive coordinator, played with. Skip, he was committed. They stuffed him last night, but he wasn't getting away from the run. And Kirk Cousins,
he wound up with about 3 yards a carry.
He did.
Just barely over 3.
Exactly.
Okay, but he got 30 carries.
Right, but you got to stick with it. Just the threat of it. Because in order to stop the run, you got to sell out. Well, you sell out to stop the run, now you got play action, and that's what Cousins was hitting them with, the play action.
Okay, I got it. So I'm giving you Minnesota. There's no way, no how this will be this Sunday at Minnesota. But then Washington on Thanksgiving Day, you don't think...
Y'all lose that one.
Okay, but we have a chance in that game, right?
Y'all lose Baltimore.
At Baltimore, no chance. And then at Cincinnati, chance. San Francisco at home, chance.
No, San Francisco
Philly at home, chance.
No.
At New York Giants.
Giants beat y'all.
At New York Giants, chance.
Skip, Daniel
Jones.
They had you on the ropes. They had you on the ropes.
And they're getting better every week.
Okay.
Yes.
They're getting better.
Okay.
Every week. Skip, let me tell you, one thing. Let's look at it from. I know you're getting frustrated with me, Skip, but I gotta like sometimes you got that younger nephew that reel in his uncle. You're gonna be my uncle too, Skip. Today.
Okay.
All of these teams is looking at the Cowboys and they saying the same thing: win. We got one right there. We got us one right there, and it's like I know we want to keep having hope, and they give you a little hope, and they play hard and they lose, and then they come back and they get blown out. And I know you want to just get put out your misery, but you watch all these other games and you feel like you have hope. And I just feel like the Cowboys don't have one thing that they can hang their hat on and say, this is what we're going to ride out to the finish line. And that's what doesn't give me any hope.
Okay. They do have one thing they can hang their helmets on, and that's right now they got the 3rd pick in the draft. And if they do lose all those games that Shannon Sharpe said they're going to lose, if everybody on the schedule is saying win, if that's true, I don't know. My team, if it loses out, could it have the 2nd pick in the draft? It could.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be better than winning 2 or 3 games.
I got it, because if you win, quote unquote, the NFC East, you get a home playoff game in which you will get blown off your home field by Tampa or Arizona or somebody.
New Orleans or something.
Somebody's going to come in and just clean them out. Somebody's going to embarrass them at Jerry World, and obviously I don't want to see that.
Y'all got good special teams. I mean, Bones got y'all playing.
Yeah.
Bones also got y'all playing. You're running trick plays and everything.
Hey, Garrett Gilbert played really well, I thought.
Yeah. But when you don't have no expectations, it's much better to say really well. Because when the expectations is low, anything you do is getting a pat on the back. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are a team that is like a naturally slow starting team, and they just kind of coasted through the Cowboys. But now you're going to be facing the Vikings, who are a team trying to get back in this thing. They're playing with some real pride. They're playing with some like they're going somewhere.
They look like they have taken off. I agree. But didn't you, as an ex-Dallas Cowboy defensive player, didn't you see some signs of life and hope in the Dallas defense against Pittsburgh? Because I sure did.
I did. I seen some signs of effort, but every time they needed to stop, they did what they always do. Didn't get it. Every time they needed to turn over, didn't get it.
Oh, what I don't understand, he talking about his defense. Now, what about that offense that got all of those weapons? When are you going to see progress with them?
Okay.
3 points, 9 points. Really, Skip?
Okay, but we haven't had Andy Dalton, who got concussed at Washington, and we didn't have Zach Martin in that game. And once he came back, it solidified the offensive line. I think it's decent now. I think it's good enough to protect Andy Dalton enough that he can get the 3 weapons involved.
Skip.
They can win
Andy
a couple
Dalton.
games.
Are we really?
He put his hopes on Andy Dalton. That's what
Andy Dalton.
Well, he simply entered this year as the best backup quarterback in all of football, and even you agreed with that.
He was, but after watching him play, is he still?
Did you see the 2 throws he made to beat the New York Giants? Now you're saying the Giants might be the best team in the East. Yeah. I've been telling you that all along. Andy Dalton beat them. He flat out cold-cocked them with 2 throws at the end of the game.
If you watch the Giants have gotten better defensively. I'm talking about exponentially. Now, the thing that concerns me, offensively, they look like they've gotten better. But Daniel Jones is still susceptible to the big turnover at the most, because they should have beat Tampa. I don't care what you say. Oh, they had Tampa on the ropes on Monday night.
But the GOAT said, nah.
You know, they said, no, Daniel Jones says, here, let me give you the ball. But, Skip, I agree with Owen. I've been telling you this. While you looking at everybody else's schedule like, oh, they can beat this team, they can beat that team. When I played, I'd be looking at the schedule like, oh, yeah, we can beat this team, we can beat that team. And if the Cowboys are on your list, you definitely looking at the Cowboys as a win, Skip.
Okay, absolutely. Good.
But Sharpe, I mean, when you get to scoreboard watching, tell them that. When you scoreboard watching, you're done already.
Yeah.
Scoreboard watching is the worst thing. It's like, oh, if we get a win today and this team get a loss, then this may happen. It's like everything with the Cowboys start off with what somebody else is doing.
Right.
They don't start off what they're doing.
You never
They need to win games themselves.
When I was in Denver, we had Mike. We didn't even really know who we was playing the following week, because the only thing was up there was the team we were playing that week. We just worried about taking care of us. But then you go lose like 4 or 5 games, and then you got to start hoping, man. Now, if we win this one, and if they lose this one, and they beat that other.
Okay, that's like me saying, hey, the Cowboys teams I covered in the 1990s, they didn't care who they were playing. Yeah. They just said, bring it on. Show up, and then whoever it is, we'll crush them.
You a long ways from that.
Well, I used to have those teams just the way you used to be a Denver Bronco a long time ago.
But see, Skip, at least I got 4 years. We won the Super Bowl 4 years ago.
Yep.
Skip, it's been a quarter century.
Well, you didn't win the Super Bowl. They did.
Sharpe. Come on now. You're getting personal. Now, I feel like you attacked me. I feel attacked now.
I feel
attacked.
He just keep holding on to the memories of Emmett and Playmaker and Troy and Dion.
And Roger and Drew.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those days are over, Skip.
Oh, I mean, Skip, I'm sorry. It has been a while.
Yes.
I mean, I hate to remind you often about that.
And you said you was okay with that. I said, okay, I give you a choice. Tampa or the Cowboys? You say, give me Tampa. Give me Tampa Bay. So you done gave up on them.
Well, I lost my quarterback. I can't help it.
No, I asked you that at
I
the
lost
beginning
my
of the season.
whole offensive line.
I'm just waiting to see that pep in their step.
Yeah.
Against the Vikings. That'll be interesting for me personally. Orlando, we have one
Let's
more
go
topic
first,
for
cousin.
you about your other former team. Yes, the struggling Eagles. Doug Peterson went off on a radio show yesterday, and I want to hear what you think next.
Go up.